Hello and welcome back to Microbial Concepts. I hope you all are good and safe at your home and studying well. Okay, so today's new topic is regarding industrial centrifuge. I got a request in a comment box to upload a video on this topic. So the new topic is applications of industrial centrifuge. We will discuss about industrial centrifuge first and then about some applications. Okay. So before starting to this video, a gentle reminder to do like, share and subscribe to my channel and do share these videos with your friends as well. Okay. So what is industrial centrifuge? So it is a machine which is used for fluid or particle separation, right? We use the centrifuge in our labs, right? In colleges or where you work professionally. There are different types of centrifuge from say benchtop centrifuge to the big industrial centrifuges. So the main principle or the main use of this machine is to separate the fluids or the particles. Okay, so the centrifuges they rely on the use of centrifugal force generating several hundreds or thousands of times Earth's gravity, right? And we learn this particular law in physics, that is Stokes law, right, which is regarding the centrifugal force and the Earth's gravity. And this is the mechanism, in short, the mechanism how the centrifuge works. Now, the industrial centrifuge is commonly used tool in the industries like food, agriculture sector and at pharmaceuticals and biotechnology companies. Even for waste management, wastewater management and in chemical industries, centrifuges are of great importance. The word industry brings up image or images of combination and creation, right? When we think of an industry, we think of combination of some raw materials to form or to create a product. But as the creation is important, the separation of materials is also important, and here the centrifuge plays a important role. Okay, so this is the main reason of using the centrifuges even in large scale industries, as we need to separate the materials in say any of the step of your production. Industrial centrifuges are used for separating solids from liquids, even liquid liquid separation and liquid liquid solid separation as well. Okay, so this is a example. There are actually various different designs of centrifuges available, and it depends on the industry, the reason or the method or for what purpose the centrifuge is to be used. Depending on that, the design may change. Okay, so this is, I guess, inverted filter centrifuge. The next is centrifuges are either refrigerated or non-refrigerated. Okay, so depending on the aim of the company or the industry, this also depends. Refrigerated centrifuges have a built-in refrigeration unit surrounding the rotor. This helps in temperature control. Okay, so with a temperature sensor or a thermostat permitting the selection of a particular temperature or permissible temperature range that is maintained during the centrifugation. Why? Because most of the time we need this in case of biological samples where temperature is very essential to monitor, as the samples may be temperature sensitive. Okay, then some of the centrifuges are not refrigerated. For example, there is a chemical solution which has to be centrifuged and it does not require a refrigeration. So here you will go for a centrifuge which does not have a refrigeration unit, or the refrigeration is not required. Okay, so there are these centrifuges, and the design depends on this particular requirement also. Now the principle of centrifuge. The industrial centrifuge, it rotates at a high speed, right? We know even our benchtop centrifuge also rotates at the high speed, and it helps us to separate the suspended particles into the form of a pellet, right? So likewise here also, a industrial centrifuge rotates at the high speed with many revolutions per minute. We write it as RPM. This rotation introduces a centripetal force inwards and a relative centrifugal force outwards. This relative centrifugal force is hundreds of times greater than the force of gravity, and this helps in the separation. So, a heterogeneous mixture of solid in liquid, Okay, solid is suspended into a liquid. When it is given enough time, it will settle due to the gravity, right? And it will result in a sediment at the bottom of the container. This same principle works inside a industrial centrifuge, but at the high centrifugal force. This causes the separation to occur within minutes. Okay, so if you just keep a heterogeneous mixture of solid in liquid at a room temperature undisturbed, what will happen? It will take some time, but the solid particles which are suspended, they will get settled down due to the gravity after some time. So to make this process fast, in minutes, you use a industrial centrifuge. Okay. So the main point here is, depending on a particular application, centrifuges differ in their overall design and size. Okay. Don't forget this. Next is types of centrifuge. Okay. So there are mainly two types of centrifuges: sedimentation centrifuge and filter centrifuge. So the sedimentation centrifuge is higher density particles. It is used when higher density particles are forced to the outer edge of the container. They where they force a close packed they form a close packed pallet. Okay, this is where you need something to get sedimented. These centrifuges can be used in pharmaceutical industry for production or analysis of drugs. Next is very interesting, that is filter centrifuge. So in filter centrifuge, there is a filter which catches particles and prevent them from following the rest of the mixture outwards. Okay, so there are some particles, for example, if there is a dry powder and you need to reduce the moisture content, then this filter will catch up the uh, water particles, that means the moisture particles. Okay, so likewise, it depends on your product and what you want to separate. So a couple of examples of filter centrifugation in a food industry includes production of pulp-free orange juice. Okay, so now in this case, you need to separate the pulp, small fragments of pulp from the orange juice. So your filter will catch up those particular uh, pulp particles or the residues from the orange juice, and it will keep them aside, or it will prevent the mixing of the pulp into the orange juice. Okay, and the removal of the water from washed salad prior to the packaging. So there are several types of filters that are used in filter centrifuge, such as filter cloth, wire mesh or perforated plate filter, or a slot screen. The filter cloth is used in pillar centrifuge as well as in inverting filter centrifuge and a pendulum centrifuge. Okay, and a wire mesh is also known as worm screen centrifuge, and a slot screen is used for a pusher centrifuge. Okay, so these are some extra points. I don't want you to remember this, but at least try to remember there are two types, that is centrifuge, sedimentation centrifuge and filter centrifuge. Okay, and on what mechanism they work, just try to remember that. Now about the applications. Okay, so a centrifuge is used in pharmaceutical industry in following ways. So mostly the centrifuge is used for drying out your product in pharmaceutical industries. Now pharmaceutical industries, the main aim of these industries is to achieve constantly pure batches of active pharmaceutical ingredients. Now, active pharmaceutical ingredients are also known as APIs. Okay, so these are the ingredients which go into the medicines further and they form your tablets and capsules. Okay, so before going into the final formulation, even these active pharmaceutical ingredients, they have to meet the standards. Okay, and for that particular purpose, the moisture content is important for the concentration and storage, and it is especially critical to avoid any cross contamination from for with other ingredients. Okay, so the industrial centrifuge is commonly used in the pharmaceutical industries to dry out the APIs, mostly they are in the powder form, into the layer cake of materials. Now, a basket centrifuge works here. So it is a horizontal centrifuge with a large basket filters. Okay, and as it spins, it also filters the API. so that water or the other solvents, they run through the pores of the filter. Okay, and the solid, that is our powder, that is active pharmaceutical ingredient, it just builds up on the inside of the basket. Okay, so this is how the centrifuge plays a very important role in pharmaceutical industries. Now, besides in the process of manufacturing, this is the application where you need to remove the extra moisture that can be present in your material. Okay, now other applications are, the other uses of industrial centrifuge includes recovery of cells in biotechnology, recovery of valuable pharmaceutical reactants and products. Then centrifugation is used for wastewater treatment and sewage processing. Now, at which step? For separating solids from the sludge. Then it is also used to remove particulates like metal shavings from the industrial lubricants. It is important for the isolation of valuable synthetic materials throughout the manufacturing process. The centrifuge makes it possible for many materials to be manufactured on industrial scale because it allows rapid separation of mixtures. Okay, so you name a industry, and depending on its product, depending on what methods they use, how the product is made, the centrifuge comes into the application here and there. So there are different types of centrifuges for different applications, and the optimum RPM varies among the mixtures. But the basic principle of centripetal acceleration is useful for all applications. Okay. So thank you for watching this video. Do like my videos, share these videos with your friends, and do subscribe to my channel. Okay. So the information for industrial um, applications for the industrial centrifugation or centrifuge I took from these articles, and I found those actually really easy to understand. Okay, so you can also go on Google, and if you want to read more, then you can go through these references. They are easily available and free access. Okay, so thank you for watching, and yeah, keep sharing, keep liking my videos, and study well.